Welcome to a beautiful sunny day here in Southern California. We have a lot of gardening tips, winter harvest, some things for you to do, and some cool gardening products in this episode. So sit back and enjoy this episode on the California garden in the month of January. We will begin with a garden tour. We will look at the harvest we made this month. We'll have some things for you to do in your garden. We'll look at some cool gardening products available, and we will announce the winners for the seed packet giveaway. So let's begin with the garden tour, starting with the raised beds. We have the black cobra pepper that we have overwintered and it's growing pretty well. And right next to that we have our cauliflower plants. We had a lot of cauliflower plants growing here and we made a lot of harvests, as you will soon see. You can see that the cauliflower heads are showing up and they're pretty good looking cauliflowers. Right next to the cauliflowers we have some beets as well as some kohlrabi plants. These are the purple kohlrabi plants that we just planted and they should be taking off very soon. We have some more beets right next to that. This is the red barren beet plants and as you can see they are growing pretty well now. And right next to the beet plants we had our beans, the pole beans that were growing, and it's pretty cold now and you can see that we have removed the pole bean plants. On the other side we have some pea plants that are growing very well on the trellis, and right next to that we have our broccoli. This is the green magic broccoli plant and these broccolis have yielded very well this month. Right next to the broccoli plants we have some radish plants that are still growing. These are the winter radishes, the long white radishes, and they're growing very well. As you can see, we did harvest a lot of radishes from this bed as well as the other beds. And right next to that we have the onion plants. The onions have also grown pretty well in the last month, as you can see here. Still need to remove some weeds around the onions. And right next to the onions we are growing potatoes in trenches. Now this is the other approach of growing potatoes which I had promised I would cover in one episode, and hopefully these will grow into potato plants very soon. And that concludes the tour of our raised beds. Let's now move on to the containers. In our containers we have the Little Prince eggplant that is growing, and this is also overwintered and it should grow very well. And we have our Swiss chard plants. We have both the red as well as the green Swiss chard plants that are growing very well. And we've been harvesting Swiss chard every now and then as we need it from these plants. And we also have the cabbage plant that is growing and it's developing into a cabbage bud, as you can see here. We also have our garlic plant. As you can see here, the garlic plants have now shown up. They're growing pretty well. And we don't have a lot of updates in our containers, so we'll move on to the next section, which is the harvest that we made this month. So let's look at the harvest we made this month, starting with the banana flower. This banana flower is from our Rajapuri banana plant, and as you can see here it's very beautiful and there are a lot of things you can do with the banana flower, so look up some recipes on how to use the banana flower. Broccoli. We had the green magic broccoli plants that were growing in our raised beds and we harvested a lot of broccoli from these plants, and in my experience the green magic broccoli is almost as good as the Sun King broccoli that we tried last year, and if not better. I think this is slightly better. The size of the heads that this plant produced were slightly better than the Sun King hybrid broccoli, and this is a very delicious broccoli variety. We were able to harvest a lot of large heads from this broccoli plant. And even after you harvest these heads, these large heads from the broccoli plants, the plants will continue to produce broccoli. They will produce smaller size broccoli all around the plant once you harvest the main head. And this is one of the questions that a lot of viewers had asked me. So yes, even after you harvest the main head of the broccoli plant, you can still keep harvesting the broccoli for the rest of the season. Now the first head is definitely bigger than the other heads that you will get, but this is a very abundant producer. It's a great broccoli variety and something that I highly recommend that you grow in your home garden. Now once the broccoli starts to mature or to flower, you can see that there are some small yellow bud or flower like structures on the top, and that's perfectly fine. This is still a perfectly good head of broccoli, and it's very nutritious and excellent in taste. Moving on to cauliflower. The first cauliflower heads that we harvested were the crispy kinds. These are the heads that you won't find in your grocery stores. They're very crispy, especially if you stir fry them. They taste amazing. And we then resumed harvesting our other cauliflower heads as well, as you can see here. Now this is a smaller cauliflower head, but homegrown cauliflower is quite good tasting. It's fresh, it's organic, and it's natural. So even if you're getting smaller heads from your cauliflower, you should still grow it in your home garden. And the cauliflower greens are edible as well. They taste amazing. And we were growing a couple of cauliflower plants in our containers. And as you can see here, the size of the cauliflower from the containers is not that big. They are medium-sized heads. But they're still very nice, very delicious. So containers are also a great option to grow cauliflower heads in. And as you can see here, the cauliflower head, this one is a smaller one. But still, if you can grow 2 cauliflower plants in one container, you can save up on a lot of space. Now in the raised beds, we got the best cauliflowers that we harvested. And as you can see here, the heads are pretty large and it's almost perfect. This is almost a perfect looking cauliflower, as you can see. And unlike broccoli, the cauliflower plant will produce one head. Now, one of our YouTube viewers mentioned that the cauliflower plant does produce additional small cauliflowers around the plant, but most likely we're going to be removing these plants after we harvested the first bud. Moving on to moringa. We harvested a lot of moringa pods from our moringa tree. And for those of you who are not aware of moringa, it's a superfood. It has a lot of vitamins and minerals. So it's something that I highly recommend that you try out. These moringa pods are delicious. You can boil them. You can cook them with lentils and spices and they taste amazing. And as you can see here, the pods are quite nice. Moving on to our Washington navel oranges. Our plant yielded a lot of oranges this season, and as the tree grows, the number of oranges that you can harvest from the tree go up significantly. And we harvested dozens of oranges from this tree. As you can see here, very beautiful looking orange, extremely sweet, extremely delicious. And compared to other citrus varieties, I think oranges are very good yielders and you can harvest a lot of oranges. They are pretty large in size and they're sweet and delicious. So the Washington navel orange is one variety that I can recommend that you can try growing in your home garden. And this is a dwarf tree and still yields a lot of oranges. Moving on to peas. We were growing these peas on our trellis, on our easy trellis. And as you can see here, they have yielded quite large pods. And you have to grow a lot of pea plants to get a really big harvest. But I was happy with the amount of peas I got from just a few plants here. And now moving on to radishes. This is the harvest from the container. And as you can see here, from just this whiskey barrel container, we were able to harvest 3 large radishes. And maybe I could have grown even 4 or 5 in this container. They grow pretty well. And as you can see here, really good sized radish. And this is the pungent radish variety, the white radish variety. And it's known by different names, the Minoways, the daikon. All are very similar. The daikons are usually larger. And we planted the same radish variety in our raised beds as well. And we got a pretty good harvest from our raised beds. Now this radish variety does take longer to grow compared to the red or the 30-day radish variety. But it does grow into really large radishes, as you can see here. And some of these radishes can grow even in tough clay soil. And although we have good soil in our raised beds, even if you have like not so good soil, you can try growing these radishes. They will literally drill through the soil and give you really big radishes. And this is a pungent radish variety again. It's not as mild as some of the other radish varieties, but it has a really good radish taste and very crispy and very delicious. Now we were also growing the French breakfast radish variety, as you can see here, which is a quick maturing radish variety, this red radish variety that you see. And these were growing pretty much on top of the compost. We added a lot of compost to this bed. And as you can see here, you can harvest a lot of radishes from just a small space. And this is a little milder than the daikon or the Minoves radish, and extremely delicious. And here are some more radishes. This is again the white radish that we harvested from the raised bed. And as you can see here, quite a large size radish. And the white radish variety is significantly larger than the other varieties. As you can see here, beautiful looking radish that's fresh and delicious. And here once again you can see this is an extremely large radish. It's one of the biggest radishes that we harvested from our raised bed. So as you can see here, the radishes that we harvested are of great quality. They yielded a lot of radishes and this was pretty much our biggest harvest for this month. Moving on to Swiss chard. We had our Swiss chard plants growing in this container for quite a long time now, and both the red as well as the green Swiss chard were available for harvest almost around the year. And as you can see here, these are beautiful looking leaves. The Swiss chard is very similar to spinach in taste, if not better, and it has a lot of vitamins and minerals. You can eat them raw, you can cook them. Overall, a great plant to grow. And moving on to our Dancy tangerines. Our tangerine plant was loaded with tangerines, as you can see here. We had a lot of tangerines growing in this plant, and we were able to harvest dozens of tangerines almost every week from this plant. And there are still hundreds of tangerines, as you can see here on the plant. So it's a very high yielder, a very high producer. And I don't know if it's the great fertile soil in our neighborhood or just the variety of tangerine that it is. We were getting a lot of tangerines from this plant. And you can see here the harvest that looks pretty nice. And we shared a lot of these tangerines with neighbors and friends, and we were still left with a lot of tangerines. And as you can see here, beautiful looking tangerines. They are not seedless, they do have seeds, but they have a classic tangerine taste and extremely delicious. Now, while we were harvesting our tangerines, we also pruned some of the branches because the tree had grown very large. And although this is a dwarf tree, you still need to prune the tree. So as we were harvesting the tangerines, we were pruning the tree as well. And it's a good time to prune the tree after you have harvested your fruits, because the plant will be dormant for some time after producing the fruit. And between winter and spring, you have this window where you can prune your plants, you can prune your fruit trees. And this is a good time to start pruning your fruit trees, whether they have produced fruit or whether they have not produced fruit this year. That's also perfectly fine. This is a good time to prune them. Moving on to turmeric. We were growing this turmeric plant or turmeric plants, a lot of them in this container, and it was time to harvest them. Now these plants were growing for about 6 months or so, and turmeric does take a long time to grow, and it starts growing in the late spring season, and then it continues to grow till the winter sets in. So now that the temperatures are cool, we thought it was a good time to harvest the turmeric from this turmeric plant. And you can see the rhizomes here, they're very nice looking. And the soil was very closely attached to the roots for this plant. So we just washed the roots a little bit. And after washing the roots, you can see the turmeric rhizomes, the tubers that are there below the plant. And turmeric is also a superfood. It is an antioxidant. It has anti-inflammatory properties. It has a lot of vitamins and minerals and is very good for your health. So by growing turmeric at home, you get fresh turmeric that you can harvest and then use it for various purposes. And you can grow a lot of turmeric from just a small container. As you can see here, we grew this turmeric plant in this container and we got a lot of turmeric out of it. And here you can see the turmeric. It looks beautiful, and this plant produced a lot of turmeric for the size of container it was growing in. And this is how our turmeric harvest looks like. Beautiful looking tubers, as you can see. You can even use the leaves, although our leaves are quite dry now. But the turmeric itself looks beautiful. Now what are we going to do with this turmeric? We're going to dry it in the sun. As you can see here, we've chopped it up and we're drying it in the sun. You could use a dehydrator if you want. And then we're going to make turmeric powder out of it. And now let's look at the things for you to do in your garden this month. We pruned our moringa trees, and we also pruned some of our other fruit trees this month. And this is a good time to prune your trees. Once you're finished harvesting the fruits, this is a good time to start pruning them. And this keeps the tree in shape and makes it easier for you to harvest the fruits. We got a lot of moringa leaves in the process, and what we're doing is drying the moringa leaves and then converting it to moringa powder, which is very nutrient rich and is also a superfood. So you just dry the moringa leaves in the sun, and once they are dry, you can blend them into a powder and then use it in smoothies or any other drinks. They taste amazing. What we are also doing is removing the side shoot from our pineapple plant. Now you have seen this pineapple plant in our previous video where we showed you the pineapple journey, and here you can see they've started growing roots at the base. And what we're doing is transplanting this to a separate container so that this pineapple plant, which was attached to the main plant, can now grow as a separate plant. And since this already has roots, it will start rooting right away, and we planted this in this container where it will grow on its own. We're also starting some summer vegetables like the container Little Prince eggplant in the seed starting cell. This was one of the best eggplant varieties we grew last year. We are also planting the Anaheim chili peppers. We were very impressed with the quality of the peppers that the plant produced. And we're trying some new tomato varieties, as you can see here. These will go into the seed starting cells as well. And we'll see how these tomato varieties come up this year. We're also planting some snake gourds. Thanks to one of my friends who gave me snake gourd seeds. We are planting snake gourds this year. And now let's look at some gardening products, starting with loaves. Our local Lowe's was closing, and we saw that a lot of products were heavily discounted, including gardening products. Now Lowe's is closing a lot of their locations. So if you live in an area which has a Lowe's that's closing, you can get some good deals. At your local Home Depot, you can see that they have a lot of rose plants, bare rooted roses, or even potted roses, as you can see. And these are excellent rose varieties that you can plant in your home garden this month. And even at your local Albertsons, you can see some very interesting plants, as you can see here. Beautiful looking ornamental plants. And I was actually quite surprised with the variety of plants that were available at my local Albertsons. And they're quite cheap as well. If you want to try out some interesting plants, head over to your local grocery store and see what they have. Costco has started stocking up on some plants. As you can see here, these are the yellow chrysanthemum plants, and they are very amazing. They grow very well. We have a lot of these plants as well. And this is the money plant, which is a very interesting ornamental plant. And I saw a lot of customers buying this plant and taking it for their home garden. And if you grow this plant, do put in a comment below and let us know why you grow this plant. And we also had a lot of other flowering plants at Costco, as you can see here. Beautiful looking plants that you can grow in your home garden. Now, thanks to those of you who participated in the giveaway, we chose 2 winners from all the entries. And our first winner is Jamie Rose Art. Congratulations on winning. And we chose one more winner, and the other winner is Alenus. So if you are one of the winners, do contact me to get your free seed packet. If you want to participate in future giveaways, make sure you check the community tab. We will have giveaways going on in the future as well. So do check out the community tab for all future notifications. Make sure you click on the bell button so that you get notifications when we post on the community tab, and that way you won't miss any giveaways. So there we have it, folks. That was our episode on the California garden for the month of January 2019. If you liked this episode, do give us a thumbs up and do put in a comment below and let us know what you are doing in your garden this month. We'll see you again soon. Happy gardening.